There's a new study that just came out of UC Davis. Well, just came out is kind of an overstatement. Came out in May 17th of this year, saying that Homo sapiens likely arose from multiple closely related populations. This is a big deal. This is something that kind of makes a groundbreaking discovery for anthropology. And we're going to go into why. They found out through years of trying to understand where humans came from, where Homo sapiens came from, that the fossil record didn't always line up with the DNA record. And so a lot of people were kind of freaking out. We couldn't find the missing link, couldn't find the missing link, couldn't find the missing link. Well, now there's a new hypothesis that there may not be a missing link, that we may actually come from the evolutionary stem and be the parent species. Although I am not an evolutionary biologist, I'm going to do my best to try and explain what this means and where it comes from and why it is what it is. So, DNA doesn't always match up with what we know the fossils are. We've been looking for the missing link between all the different species that have come up in the fossil record. We know that we came from a line of great apes. We know that humans most likely came out of a area of Africa. We know that the fossils lead up to the potential of a species like us coming about, but we don't know exactly where. Well, new hypotheses based off of this evidence. Okay, so the earliest population of humans may have come from a group of closely related ape species. Not one that we broke off from, but many. Okay? So we know that bonobos and chimpanzees can theoretically mate together. So kind of like splitting hairs on that type of thing. Okay? So the first detectable split of the human species occurred roughly 120,000 to 135,000 years ago. The thing that is new now, based on looking at certain people's genetics, is they believe that there was a stem group and then a split group. So the stem stayed here and we had a group of species that went this way, a group of species that went this way, right? Old thought, Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, diverged, stem group fizzled out. Now they believe that the species kept coming back to the stem group. And so actually humans are continuing on the stem group with the species kind of doing this, like waves going up, right? This is interesting. So the stem group, they believe, mixed for hundreds of thousands of years. Steady stem. And then diverging, coming back, diverging, coming back, diverging, coming back, all as we go up on this line. Okay. So humans, they believe, are on the stem line. We're not on a diverging line. This can attribute to the 1 to 4% genetic variation between different human groups. As groups of humans went further and further away from the stem group, and then came back later on, the stem group had adapted differently. So this has actually not been considered before. This study came out, and it's groundbreaking because it does account for some of the variations that we see in the human species. What it does is it explains why there may not be a missing link to get us to humans off of these variations of species, because they are the offshoots, not us. Now, this does feel a little bit like it's egocentric, but it does explain the offshoot between our closest related ancestors that are living today. But at the same time, it explains a lot of why our DNA varies, yet we maintain similar traits throughout. Because if you think about it, as these groups would have gone off, we would have gone down different evolutionary pathways and become different species altogether. This kind of explains why we remain the constant and others fall out. Anyway, interesting new stuff, interesting new research. I just wanted to share because it's so freaking cool what we're discovering. Even today, we're discovering new pathways of evolution. See you next time.